Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live, talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynn@pghcitypaper.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show on a pretty big news day, I'd say. And I ain't thinking of you-know-who in Hanoi. I have to tell you, we have a guest coming in the second half hour. I'm also going to assume that, knowing my audience, if you're listening to this at all, you're listening later because you're watching the Michael Cohen. I don't know. I mean, I don't pretend to know. But we got a great guest. And in fact, Amy had to come just literally seconds ago and drag me back here, reminding me I had a show I had to start because I was talking to the guest, Sarah Kosar, who's a playwright, an English playwright, although she was born and raised in Butler, Pennsylvania. Go figure. But interesting stuff. So stay tuned for that. A little respite from the usual, oh God, what's going on? So, I mean, actually, you don't have to watch the first part of the hearing, because the first part of the hearing will be Cohen giving his statement, which you might have right in front of you since it was released to the media, I imagine last night. And it covers all the things you would have wanted, I guess, Michael Cohen to talk about. And the thing that tickles me the most is Trump being over there in Hanoi. And make no mistake, he's in Hanoi. This was scheduled to get away from exactly this kind of thing. This is a grand attempt to distract, and yet you can see media is, and people's interest is focused more on Cohen's testimony. Nothing could enrage Donald Trump more than the spotlight being taken from him, right? Think of what would anger him, drive him crazier than being upstaged. And then on top of it, being upstaged by his lackey, his ex-lackey, Michael Cohen. Trump today, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine inside his head. We'll be lucky if he doesn't make the United States somehow a vassal to North Korea in an effort to trump Cohen in terms of attention today. And I mean, I'm sure the people who very sober types who work in national security, I am quite sure that they are truly fearful of that. All, goofy smiles and, delight and schadenfreude aside, the fact of the matter is what's going on in Hanoi and the damage that Trump could do in an effort to get that spotlight back, it will have maybe, I would imagine, longer-term consequences potentially to the security of the United States than Michael Cohen's testimony today. So we live in this ongoing whirlwind. Oh, and speaking of wind, guys, my heart goes out to those of you who, I can't believe people are still without power. Jeez. I mean, electricity, that is like, whenever you do lose it for any length of time, boy, do you become aware of how much in every way we depend upon it for everything, for absolutely everything. So I sure hope if you're somebody who's still without that you do get it back today. I don't know. I don't. I will and I can talk a little bit about Michael Cohen and what he has said. All he's done is tell us what we knew, right? We just knew. Like, here from his statement, Donald Trump is a man who ran for office to make his brand great, not to make our country great. Good line, good line. And true, you know that's true. He had no desire or intention to lead this nation, only to market himself and to build his wealth and power. And anyone with a clear head knows that, in fact, to be a true statement. The thing that screwed up the whole grand scheme was the stupidity of the American voters who elected him. He didn't want to be, in his dreams kind of, but in reality, no. Did he want this? Because somewhere in the back of his head, he had to know, first of all, that he'd actually have to do stuff he didn't want to do, which is not something he's ever had to do. That he would have to, well, I don't know if he would acknowledge that, but he didn't want this job. He liked Donald Trump just the way Donald Trump was. He just wanted to build the brand. The presidency has brought unwanted attention to him. And by his winning, ultimately, he will end up losing everything. And I don't think there's any doubt about that. He will lose. He's already lost his foundation. He will lose his so-called charitable foundation. He will lose, essentially, I would think, his business. He might lose family. He might lose his liberty. He might lose, obviously, his standing, lots of money. He stands to lose everything because he didn't figure on winning. And back to Cohen's testimony, he says, Mr. Trump would often say this campaign was going to be the greatest infomercial in political history. That's how he saw it. And then when the unthinkable happened and the people bought what he was selling, he turned the presidency into the greatest reality show in political history. And we can only imagine the damage, the lasting damage he is doing to the United States. Back to Cohen. He never expected to win the primary. He never expected to win the general election. The campaign for him was always a marketing opportunity. Well, sorry, Donald. Turns out you underestimated the stupidity or gullibility of the American people. Enough of them, strategically placed. Because they bought it. And of course you had a great assist from the Hillary Clinton campaign that was not well run. Sorry, not well run. The Trump Tower meeting. Michael Cohen says, I remember being in the room. probably in early June 2016, when something peculiar happened. Don Jr. came into the room and walked behind his father's desk, which in itself was unusual. People didn't just walk behind Mr. Trump's desk to talk to him. I recall Don Jr. leaning over his father and speaking in a low voice, which I could clearly hear, and saying, "The meeting is all set." I remember Mr. Trump saying, "Okay, good, let me know." Later, Cohen says, "What struck me as I looked back and thought about that exchange between Don Jr. and his father was, first, that Mr. Trump had frequently told me and others that his son, Don Jr., had the worst judgment of anyone in the world. I think that's pretty much been borne out. And also that Don Jr. would never set up any meeting of any significance alone, and certainly not without checking with his father." He's got the check from Trump, $35,000, paying him back for paying off Stormy. Wow. Well, this is going to be something. I mean, he just flat out, he also says that he knew Roger Stone had told him about the WikiLeaks coming out with it. He knew all that, too. I mean, we know. Cohen's finally coming clean, telling us what we've always known, that Trump is a con man, that Trump is a cheat, that Trump is a liar, that Trump is a racist. I mean, come on, tell us something we don't know. So, I don't know. I think this testimony will be difficult to watch because the Republicans on the committee are going to spend their time doing nothing but obviously attempting to protect the president. And speaking of that, oh my, here's the damage the president has done to this country. We now consider it, I guess, normal for people in power to tweet. That did not used to be the case. That is something that Donald Trump himself has done. And tweet in the most kind of despicable manner. Use of Twitter to belittle and intimidate. And then you have this repulsive congressman from Florida, Gaetz, Matt Gaetz, with his tweet of yesterday, a clear attempt to intimidate Michael Cohen. And, I mean, surely you have seen that tweet, right? I mean, I can't imagine anybody not. It said this: "Hey, Michael Cohen, do your wife and mother and father-in-law know about your girlfriends?" This is from a sitting member of Congress. Stop and think about this. "Hey, Michael Cohen, do your wife and father-in-law know about your girlfriends? Maybe tonight would be a good time for that chat. I wonder if she'll remain faithful when you're in prison. She's about to learn a lot." This is I don't know. I mean, what am I? We're just saying the same shit we always say. How low he's brought us. And how the Republican Party has happily gone with him. Incredible. I have not seen condemnation of his tweet from Republican hierarchy. I've seen Nancy Pelosi take it on, and I've seen him since delete it and apologize. But I found out something I guess I didn't know about. For everybody who's saying, hey, that is just flat out attempt to intimidate a witness in a federal case. And I assume that too. The guy is clear. The tweet was clear intimidation. Well, it turns out probably not. Because members of Congress, because they get to write the rules, members of Congress have, well, actually this is in the Constitution, so they didn't write this one. They are covered under the speech or debate clause of the Constitution. And that grants members of Congress a real wide kind of latitude in what they can say. If the Congress is in session, and it is. And I guess a lot of members of Congress have avoided criminal charges in the past by hiding behind the protection of that constitutional clause. I carry the Constitution everywhere I go, and if we had commercial breaks, I would definitely look it up, but I don't. So yeah, it's in here, and so any criminal prosecution of this jerk for attempting to intimidate a witness is extremely unlikely. As one constitutional scholar said, there are a lot of things that are reprehensible, but not criminal. This is the same SOB, by the way, who I think brought a Holocaust denier to the State of the Union. This is the same SOB, Gaetz, who got in an argument with the parents of murdered Parkland high school students during a Judiciary Committee hearing. Gets in an argument with the parents of dead children and actually tried to have them ejected from the hearing room. That is how despicable this Trump defender is. But what would one expect? Birds of a feather. So, given, by the way, if you're a Methodist who still has no power, I am really, really sorry for you. And if you're a Methodist and you do have electricity, I'm still sorry for you, because it looks like your church may be the next to come apart at the seams over the issue of gay people. Whether they're good enough to serve as pastors, and whether they're good enough to have their loving commitments called marriage. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, the United Methodist Church is the latest to actually vote to strengthen its ban on gay and lesbian clergy, and also same-sex marriage. And the Methodists are the second largest Protestant denomination, just want to say. And here's why that happened. I'm sure many of the Americans who are at this conference in St. Louis where the vote occurred, are more progressive than a lot of the people attending this conference who are not in the United States. So there are a number, the churches, Christian churches, with their outreach and proselytizing, have sought followers in Africa and Asia, and some have, acquired quite a few converts. The problem is often in those cultures, homosexuality is an absolute taboo, right? They're a little bit not where we are in that regard. And so I would think because these churches have gone global, they've also become more conservative in terms of their governance. I would argue that has happened in the Catholic Church as well, where European Catholics are dwindling in number, American Catholics are leaving the fold, and African Catholics are stepping up. But anyway, there you go. The Episcopal Church split over this. The Presbyterians have, I believe, split over this. You even have in evangelical circles, younger evangelicals causing mini rifts, breaking away over this issue of essentially, are gay people humans? I don't know. What is the issue? That's the issue? Gay people. I mean, unbelievable. So anyway, again, to you Methodists, I'm sorry. Here's an email from one of you, and she says, as an older at-home person, I immediately turn the radio on when I wake up. Well, that makes you old. That is true. And that's normally around 8:30. And since your sound on my computer was also inaudible, oh, jeez. I would stay listening to the conversations on the big K, KDKAAM. But, she says with all caps, with the awful changes, as if it could get worse, and it did, right, at KD, I am now back sitting about 2 inches from my laptop. Will you find some young person to jack up the volume? It doesn't make sense that you're having to do that. It doesn't. Somewhere in your settings or something, it just drives me crazy. There's no reason that you should have to sit with your ear to it. She says, the person who is now on KD from 10 to 2 sounds like a lovely person. Yes, she is. But her monotone voice puts me back to sleep, which I guess is not what she wants to do. So the radio programming has changed, and so I have no listening habits, and now my radio is silent, and then maybe join a club and take up a new hobby. Who knows? Get someone to fix your computer audio. I swear. My guest coming in a few minutes, is of the world of theater. And you may have noticed that I seem to be heading in that direction more and more myself. And I think one of the survival tactics I have landed on in terms of not having the show always be about the horror, the nightmare at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, is to talk about the art of theater. And it's not like I have, even though I studied theater for 2 years with one of the best teachers, I never myself was necessarily drawn to being a regular imbiber of what is offered to us on stage. And again, in my effort to be healthier, I have been going out more and doing it. And I got to tell you, for me, as the poor woman who is 2 inches from her laptop says, maybe she should take up a club and join a club or take up a new hobby. Get yourself up and go off to theater. You know, I keep talking about the August Wilson Center, and I will till I'm blue in the face. They do so much amazing stuff. They really do. On my birthday, they had a thing called Poetry Unplugged. And it was all about spoken word and music from all kinds of different creative people around the country who used the work of Dr. Martin Luther King as inspiration. So August Wilson, you can go there and actually, poetry unplugged, but looking at poetic activism to honor Martin Luther King. This is stuff that, like, rather than hurts your head, which the news does, it opens it, and it's so wonderful. And I was just looking that the August Wilson Center has a summer youth writers camp, and that'll be happening. That's happening this June, okay, for the second year in a row, and it's for middle and high school students who are into poetry, into theater, into writing and composing. And it's designed for them to grow that passion. August Wilson Center, I hope I'm not annoying you with my newfound passion for theater, but I just think it's wondrous. Okay, I'm getting more reports about full volume. People still struggling a bit. Listen, while I was gone last week, did I tell you this? They had some people in. They have suggested we switch out certain equipment. Who the hell knows how long that's going to take, but I want you to know that we're trying. I don't know what else to say. I was going to remind me tomorrow maybe to share this story of finding this in my suitcase on my way. I did not put this in my suitcase, but it was in my suitcase when I came home to unpack. And I have to tell you about that story a little bit because I find it interesting, to say the least. Okay, well, what the heck? Let's bring our guest in. We run a loose ship here. Hang on. Hang on. I'll be right back. Hey, Sarah, come on. We'll get Sarah in here. Thank you. Hello. Sit down. Eddie, that chair will drop. I just want you to know.
I'm ready for it.
Okay, I I don't want to startle you. No. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't even ask her. It's Sarah Kosar?
Sarah Kosar, you got it.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah, no, appreciate that.
We've already looked at the Constitution, which has some troubling things in it, by the way. I call them pesky. That pesky First Amendment. Yeah.
Oh, America.
Yeah.
Oh, America. Happy to be back.
Okay.
For a brief time.
This is what a playwright looks like.
Right here.
That is so cool. I was just pointing out that the August Wilson Center, and if you lived here now and you were a kid, they have a writer's camp.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
For an entire week for middle school and high school kids.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I grew up in Pittsburgh, coming here from Butler. Every week, 3 times a week, my mom drove me down to CLO Academy doing singing, dancing, acting, but there really wasn't a lot for writing, or maybe that I knew about.
No, I don't think there was.
I went to Penn State and studied theater, and then I was trying to be an actor, but then it didn't quite work out. They were like, you can't really do Shakespeare, you can't really do accents, but your improv's very weird. It's very weird. Maybe there's something to play with there.
Oh, is that what it was?
And that's how I started writing.
So you did improv.
Yeah. Lots of my improvs were very strange.
And so, what do people say to you? You are so weird.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's quite absurd. That's quite funny. That's weird. Maybe you should try writing instead of acting. Because I never quite fit into the right mold or the right roles. I was not an ingenue.
No,
not an ingenue.
No, and you know what? I went to New York to be an actress myself.
New York. Oh, really?
Back in the 70s.
Oh, my
That's how old I
gosh.
am. And I studied with the great Sanford Meisner at the neighborhood
That's
Playhouse.
incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you were an actor.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. I'm not.
Well, I mean, come on, look at you now. A little bit.
But see, that's what's weird. You go and try to do the acting thing and find out that, in fact, it's the writing of it that you want. I went to do the acting thing and found that I didn't like using other people's words.
Yeah. I mean, that's also a big part of it, right? Like now thinking about it, it's like I can have so much more agency over my life, and I am a person that has something to say. Not saying that actors don't have something to say, for sure, not at all. But that was just something that I went, oh, that's what I need to do. That's what I need to do.
Yeah. So, I mean, that our time spent being an actor was not time ill spent.
Oh, my gosh.
No.
Oh, my gosh.
But it was part of the pathway to which I end up doing yap, and you end
100%.
up writing plays.
I know. I mean, I don't really think that there is a better training ground to be a full human person than theater.
You know what?
I mean,
I agree.
do you know what I mean?
Yes.
The skill set that you get from it is really gold, because you know how to listen to people. And that is a skill.
That is, if you're a good actor.
Yeah.
You know how to listen.
You know how to listen.
And to not make assumptions. And to be in the moment. And
understanding other people's points of view.
And also getting to know yourself.
100%. Being self-reflective.
Right. I found, really, those 2 years at the neighborhood playhouse, I always said it was like psychoanalytic boot camp in some ways. It's rough.
It's hard. It's hard. I have the greatest admiration. It's amazing to be so vulnerable and put yourself there continuously. It's incredible.
I couldn't quite do
Yeah.
it. I could do it more as myself than I could in somebody else's skin. Couldn't do it. And they also said, Meisner said, you have to be willing to be private in public.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I thought, I don't think I can do that.
Yes. I agree with that. And I think that's, for me, writing, I'm always trying to look at what are the private moments. And I can do that on my own and really go inside and look at what am I trying to say and what are those private moments that I want to explore. But doing that in public. Like
but actually being the actor who has to take your stuff and then own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You would find that much more difficult.
Definitely.
Me too.
Definitely. I've just seen a run of Mumburger, which is opening on Friday, and Jesse and Ken, what they have done, and so vulnerable and so amazing and so hilarious. I mean, it is unbelievable. I am just in awe of them.
Okay, this is the playwright talking about the American premiere of her play Mumburger. and I this is at Off the Wall production at the Carnegie Stage, which, by the way, is just a wonderful theater. I mean, I now count it among my favorite sort of spaces and theaters. And Mumburger has not been produced here in the United States, although it has been produced in
London. Yeah, so it had its world premiere at a place called the Archivist Gallery back in 2016, and then it transferred to the Old Red Lion Theatre in London in 2017. And then to have an American premiere of it, I mean, I am like pinching myself, coming over the bridge this morning with my mom, driving in, I was like, oh my gosh, you're 13 again, Sarah, with that hope and that dream of like, oh my gosh, maybe I can be somebody. And being able to come here and have it premiere here and like share it with my family and my friends that haven't seen a lot of my work because I moved to London about 9 years ago is pretty phenomenal. And what's really wild is I had seen a show at Off the Wall when they were in Washington, PA, way back. I think it was in 2009 or 2010. So to be able to have my play on there now is unbelievable.
And so you were you just saw the play.
I've just seen it run yesterday.
Okay. And what is that like when, so you've seen actors in England do it, and now you've got these two American actors doing it.
Amazing British accents, I just have to say.
Oh, they have to, they have to do British accents.
They're amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about the accents until I left, and I was like, whoa, that was so natural. They're so great. It's amazing. But yeah, it's pretty wild to now have seen 3 productions of it. Like, it's a real dream. It's like almost like having a child. I don't want to have children, and I really look at my plays as like my children. Yeah, and being able to see it grow and develop and new experiences of it and new interpretations is just unbelievable. And again, it goes back to that self-reflection of like, yesterday I was learning things about myself watching it that I'd never seen before.
So who brings that to, is it the director who does that? Is it the director and the actors? What happens? I mean, the words are written down, right?
Yeah, but it's a real effort of everybody. What Robin Parrish has done with the direction of it is phenomenal. And what the actors have done, and Off the Wall, Ginny supporting it. I mean, being in a theater that like supports female-focused work, that I would say is one of my biggest passions of like how to support other women, making sure women have agency over their lives, making sure that women have equality and are being seen for our work, and that we have a seat at the table. To be a part of that mission is like,
and let's make clear that is what Off the Wall is all about.
Yeah, it's an all-female team on Mumburger as well, which is amazing.
Well, you got a poor guy in the cast. How's he handling it?
He's great. Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Okay, so I have to tell you, I don't know if you can here.
This is the script. So this is the published play.
Oh, this is the script. Okay, so it's published. That is disgusting looking.
Definitely is. This one's a little bit nicer.
Can you see that burger looks cute.
Yeah, the burger looks cute.
As opposed to this that looks frightening.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to read one thing that I don't know if Off the Wall is saying it, but oh no, it's right there. Yeah. The American premiere of Mumburger, a surreal new play about grief, parenting, and alternative meat. Now,
normal, right?
Yeah, right.
Normal. That's what we all talk about every day.
That's strange.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're a weirdo.
Yeah, I'm definitely a weirdo.
But so
it's the lens I see the world in.
But is it, so for an average non-weird person, can they handle it?
100%.
Really?
100%. The way I write plays, so the things that I like to do is like what I call, or what Anthony Nielsen, an amazing playwright, says, is thoughtful entertainment. That anyone can see it on face value, totally get it, you're in it. But if you want to peel back the other layers or the metaphors of it, you can also do that.
You can go deeper.
You can go deeper, but anyone's going to understand it. You know, should I tell you a little bit about what it's about?
You tell me as much as you're willing to tell, because
okay,
yeah,
I'll give a little hint, maybe a little bit more than a hint.
Go for it.
So it is about basically an eco-activist vegan mother who's really passionate about climate change, and she suddenly dies in a car accident. And as a way to combat animal agriculture and climate change, she has her body turned into burgers.
Oh dear God.
Yeah. So this happens quite early on.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's a kind of meditation on grief and how do we digest grief, literally and metaphorically. Yeah, so it's normal.
Yeah.
It's really normal. It's just like a little family drama. You know.
And there's two characters, right?
Yes, a father and a daughter.
The father and the daughter. So the husband of the burgers.
Sure.
And the daughter.
Yeah.
So it's them handling this.
Yeah. And it's quite funny, but it's also quite sad, you know. And for me, it felt like the most honest way to examine how far would you go for somebody you loved? And what is that obligation you have for somebody you love? After somebody passes, are you going to follow through with that dying wish? You know, actually, this is where it all came from. I'll never forget me and my husband sitting down, and I was like, okay, I'm looking for a metaphor to kind of examine this. What is it? And then I kind of got to this place of eating, like, would you eat somebody you loved if that's what they wanted you to do, you know, normal conversation. And he was like, I would never do that. And I was like, excuse me, if I asked you to do that, you wouldn't do that for me? Don't you love me more than anything in the world? And he's like, yeah, but you wouldn't know. And it all really, it was like,
so you'd be a dead ground up hamburger. How would you know if I?
Yeah, but I'm like, but that doesn't matter. It's like, how far would you go for that person if that's what they wanted? You know, so it's really kind of wrestling with all of those types of ideas. Yeah.
And that hasn't harmed your marriage at all?
No, it hasn't. So we got divorced the next week. But, you know, you have to ask those questions. No, he's great.
So I'm just saying. And you're doing like a 2-week run?
Yeah. So it's from the 1st to the 16th of March. So it opens on Friday.
Okay.
Friday at 8 p.m., Saturday at 8 p.m. It's sold out on Friday, so get tickets for Saturday. And then on Sunday at 3 p.m. And then for the following 2 weeks, Thursday to Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a heck of a run.
Yeah, it really is.
And guys, I keep telling you, you want to get away from Donald Trump? This is how, you know, take in other aspects of life and force yourself out of your comfort zone. This sounds 100%. Like it might do it.
You know, for me, I always think about, you know, why I love writing for theater specifically is because we are so bombarded by like the world and media and our phones and everything going on, and it's so hard to escape. But I think in theater, you sit in a room.
It slows you down.
It slows you down. It asks you, it demands you to be present.
That's right.
And I think that escapism is why I write. Do you know what I mean? Thinking about all the things we each can do politically and make change, I feel like what I can do is offer people a way to like zoom into the moment and not think about anything else but that. And just escape.
And that is what it is. But, you know, I've been reading how people increasingly are incapable of sitting
and being bored.
And but they're not going to be bored if they go to Mumburger.
No. But just sitting.
Yeah, they definitely can't do that.
No.
But they can't even sit and watch something. They can't focus anymore. And that's not going to get better.
No, it's not. We're all like triple screening now. You know, I'm at home. I do it. I'm guilty of it. I'm not proud of it. But, you know, sitting at home, you got the TV on. Then you've got your computer here on your lap. Then you've got your phone texting as well. We need to just focus on one thing.
You got to write about this.
Yes,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
changing the way kids' brains are wired.
know,
We're like
I know.
becoming less human. We're
I know.
becoming. It scares me.
I know.
What are you
I
working?
know.
Oh, I know what I saw you're working on. Just to get off Mumburger for a minute, which I have got to see.
You have to.
I
see.
will. Not to worry. You're working on something called the Monica Lewinsky Project?
Yes.
Well, she's,
yes.
you know, okay. What is
Yeah.
that about?
That's really interesting. So that's something I've been developing with this amazing Scottish director, Debbie Hannon. And we've been doing some R&D on it and starting to kind of develop it a little bit further. But I want to reframe Monica Lewinsky. I want to honor her as the patron saint of female shame. Literally, I want to do it in 3 acts. It's not necessarily her life story, but it's like, who is she? How can we really give her the narrative she deserves? I think we all trampled on her, we need to say thank you to her.
Yes.
We need to understand.
I am so behind that.
So the whole 3rd act, I think, is going to be actually a ceremony where we thank her. Because what she went through, she continues to, and all of her work. I mean, I just have the greatest respect for her, and I just really want to look at that story in a female gaze. I want women to tell that story as well, because so often we've seen a lot about Monica, but it's been men writing about her, and it's time for women.
A woman, you know, this
her.
is just another woman who was shamed and
publicly shamed.
Cartoonized. Do you remember Lorena Bobbitt?
Yes.
Well,
so funny. My mom said that to me last
night. She there is a 4-hour there's a 4-hour documentary.
Oh my
it's
God,
a documentary out. And boy, it turns it upside down and around. And she is an amazing woman. And at the time, all any of us could do was think about his penis.
I know.
That was
that was all it was.
The fact that she had been raped by him, beaten by him, didn't matter. His penis. So
where do we put the power? Like, why? Wow. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I'm incredibly interested in feminist work, and that's kind of my mission with what I'm writing about.
Is it getting better? Tell me it's getting better for women.
I think
you don't have to. But I mean, just tell me
I
the
think
truth.
it is. I think it is, and I think it just has to be done on a micro level. All of us, women supporting women, men supporting women, like we just all need to make those active choices every single day. I think it is getting better. I mean,
you keep saying that. Keep saying. I think it is getting better. I think I can. Right.
I think I can. Yeah.
There's no place like home. Just
exactly. Exactly. My other play, which I've just finished, that was on at the Old Vic Theatre in London. I was on a 12-month attachment with them as part of this thing called the Old Vic 12. It's called Our Name Is Not John. And it is about that there are more men running companies globally named John
this is true.
than the total number of women running companies. So it goes, all men named John, all men named David running companies, all men named Tim running companies. Oh, all women running companies, all men named da-da-da.
It's true. I remember that when that came out.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So this is a play kind of examining what are the structures that women build and facilitate for the patriarchy, and how do we stop that, and how do we become more aware of that? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh yeah, there are a lot of Johns in my family too. My dad, my grandpa, my brother, my nephew, my father-in-law.
Oh, heck.
And it was like, oh yeah, this play isn't about you, just so you know. It's just everyone's named John that's in power.
Well, watching the Lorena Bobbitt thing, what you realize is some of the people back then, it was like 1994, people are saying, this is women, we will now see what abuse in marriage is, and there is such a thing as marital rape, and this is a learning opportunity. And I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, what did we learn? Here
I
we
know.
are in the Me Too
I know.
movement just start. I mean, what?
I know. It's scary because it does feel like a lot of things have gone backwards.
Totally backwards.
Big time.
Big time. It's
really
just like
scary.
elect a black person president, and you know what you'll get next? Donald fucking Trump. That was a reaction as well. So why won't you live in the United States?
So there's this man named Donald Trump.
No, that can't be it because you said, is that it?
I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
it's what Donald Trump means. It's Americans who elected him.
Exactly.
And Butler, PA.
I know. It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's incredible. When I was in London after the election, I had people like heard my accent and were like, "What the fuck have you done?" Oh. And I'm like, "I hear you. I didn't vote for him, but I hear the anger, and I understand that that's how you feel about Americans now. You know, that it's just like, how could this happen?" But of course, you know, things in the UK are obviously not going very well either with Brexit and it's just, again, hate winning over love. And people kind of going back to
fear.
It's totally
fear, ignorance, and hate winning over
people just
openness.
Not taking a moment to understand how other people might feel, how other people are more similar than different. I mean, how is this, like, these are very basic things, what we were talking about at the beginning, you know? Like, just think about other people. Why are you so scared of other people? What that says to me is you're scared of yourself.
You're scared of reality.
You're scared of reality. You're scared to be kind. I don't understand. It's really depressing. It's really depressing.
It's hard not to become misanthropic. It is for me.
Yeah.
I become more and more just finding humanity loathsome in so many ways. I mean, I know that's too big a statement, but
I understand
our worst selves are so much on display.
I know.
These days.
I know. And so many people that I talk to, you know, with the Brexit conversation, with the Trump conversation, is like how to deal with people that you love and people that you know then feeling this way, and how can you separate that? You know, and those choices of whether to have those conversations or not have those conversations. But if we don't have those conversations on a personal level, then how do we think things are going to get better on a bigger level?
Exactly.
And I'm one that I feel like you should go head to head.
You have
as long as you start the debate and start the conversation to say, listen, when you speak, I'm going to just breathe. And I'm just going to try to listen to you and just focus on my breathing rather than what I'm going to say back to you. And maybe we can just all say, hands up, we've all got blind spots. Maybe we can both learn something here. I mean, I know that that's quite optimistic, but, you know, it doesn't always work out that way, and most of the time not. But I think just taking that time, like, why can't we just listen?
No. Well, there's too many forces working against that. I mean, okay, we're just going to go off and shoot ourselves. That's what we're going to do. But first, you got to see Mumburger.
Yes.
Seriously, so people can get tickets at
InsideOffTheWall.com. Sold out on opening night on Friday, but come along on Saturday or Sunday, or all next week, Thursday to Sunday next week, and Thursday to Sunday the following week. And yeah, come say hi. Would love to say hi to Pittsburgh folks. So happy to be here.
It's in Carnegie. A hop, skip, and a friggin'
It's so
jump.
close.
Yeah, I mean,
so
it's
close.
ridiculous. And, you know, just get off at the Carnegie exit, and then it's right there on Main Street. And it's delightful, that little,
I love that little town. It's so nice. Such great restaurants, such great stuff.
Are there great restaurants there?
Love them.
Like around
love
the
them.
theater? So you
yeah.
go to
131 I've just been to. Delicious. Incredible. So come
get
along,
to know
for sure.
Carnegie. Broaden your horizons. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I sound like I'm wrapping up, and I'm not. We're not done.
Great. Let's keep talking.
Let's see. What did I... Okay, so you don't have... most people who go... You get a little British accent.
I know.
So how come
why
you
don't I have it?
Well, maybe you're
too
strong in who you are, but you don't.
Do you know what's really funny, though? When I was growing up, I was obsessed with the Spice Girls. Now, people say they're obsessed with the Spice Girls, but they haven't met me. And I used to talk in a British accent, a very bad British accent. I mean, I would literally be in school. I mean, this is so embarrassing. Let's just tell the world. And everyone would do the Pledge of Allegiance.
This is what school?
At school.
Let's place the school.
Butler, you know.
What was the name?
Butler Catholic. That's
Catholic,
where I was.
I just want to see.
And I was, you know, and everyone was,
little
Sarah Kosar, everyone was doing the Pledge of Allegiance, and I wouldn't stand up. And they would say,
because
Sarah,
you were a monarchist? What?
I'd be like, what you talking about? I'm British. And they were like, no, Sarah. No, no, Sarah. Like, we know you were born here. And I'm like, when my girl's in the UK, I'm not with them. Why am I going to do it? I mean, why am I doing that accent? It's so bad. It's so bad.
You didn't do an upper class accent.
I know. I was like doing the Cockney. And I was like, no, I'm British. And I just loved the Spice Girls growing up, and I would talk in that British accent. So it is like no surprise that I ended up in London, but it is shocking that I still don't have an accent. And I want the accent so bad, but I think I'm just...
Did you marry a Brit?
Again, a huge mistake of my life. No, just, hey, Sam. No, I said that to him. He's American.
Oh, he's American.
He's American.
Oh, wait. So it's not easy to be an American and work in Great Britain.
It's really hard.
I see that this is so British to me. She gets to be doing what she does, like at the Old Vic Theatre and in London and all this stuff she does over there, because she is the recipient of, get this, here's what it's called, Exceptional Promise in Playwriting Visa. Are you kidding me?
It's true. It's crazy. Yeah.
So they don't mind some foreigners coming in. You obviously are okay because you're an exceptionally promised.
I mean, it's crazy. Is
that really? So that's why you're able to?
Yeah, that's why I'm there right now.
How long does that last?
So that's for 5 years. So that's finishing up in July 2020 next
then
year.
What
and
happens?
Then I'll be able to get indefinite leave to remain and hopefully get dual citizenship. So that's the dream.
But that's their judgment call, right?
Yes, but it should be fine as long as, please don't change the rules. As long as they stay as they are right now for U.S.
Because I thought, because they would say, wait a minute, we've got British playwrights here. What do we need you, American, for?
I know. It's crazy because basically a few amazing theaters petitioned for me to be able to stay and wrote letters to the government, and you had to have a certain number of credits and reviews and publications.
Oh, wow.
And I somehow made that. And that's how I'm there right now. But I've had loads of different visas. I've been there 10 years now, and luckily was able to get that one. And then, and working full-time alongside playwriting as well. So, yeah.
And your husband?
He is my dependent. So talk about feminism, right? My visa says talent, and his says dependent. He's amazing. He's amazing and so supportive.
Is he able to find work?
Yes. Yeah. He works at Uniqlo, which is a Japanese clothing company, which is really big in Europe. But I think there's a few in New York. But he works there in merchandising and allocation. He's amazing.
Did you guys meet here and go there together, or did you? I'm sorry, this is getting very personal.
No, it's fine. So I met him actually first year of university. When I was at Penn State.
Okay.
And we dated very briefly for a few weeks. And then I dated another person for 3.5 years. And then he broke up with me. And I was like, well, I'm not dramatic. So I was like, I can't be in a country with a man that doesn't love me. So then I was like, oh my gosh, I want to try to make it in theater and playwriting. I was like, let me try to go to London now. So then I went to London, studied abroad there, and then came back for my very last year of Penn State before I went back to move there properly. And I ran back into Sam after not seeing him for 3.5 years, and we reconnected and dated for 8.5 months, and we got engaged. And then he said, yep, I'm moving with you.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yeah, crazy.
So it worked out okay.
It worked out very well. But got married young, and he's been so supportive and been really clear of this is the dream, let's do it. And we've done it.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So there are good guys. You know, all we see in the news is men behaving badly. I've been squawking about it for some time.
I know. They're the worst.
Sam, see?
But Sam is the best. We love Sam.
And we know. I know personally some of you guys do. You're okay.
Yeah.
I have a Sam, my son. He's
amazing.
good. He's good.
Yeah.
We are out of time. Sarah, what a pleasure. I will
been a joy.
definitely be coming to Mumburger, even though I'm coming with the full knowledge that it's about a woman who had herself ground up in.
Let's just say you're not going to forget it, and you're going to have fun. Eat beforehand.
Oh, God. I guess that would be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could lose it or something. Okay. Mumburger at, you can get tickets at InsideOffTheWall.com, right? Or just, look up Off the Wall, look up Mumburger. We'll stick something on my Facebook page, okay? And, hey, she gets a special visa to stay in England, which has a history of knowing great playwrights. I just want to say.
Yeah, that's why I went there.
Yeah, having seen a Shakespeare play this last weekend, they know playwrights, and they say that we're still claiming you, our Sarah Kosar from Butler, for God's sake, is exceptional.
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you so much for having me.
I am looking forward to seeing it. I hope I see you there too, okay? All right, go back to watching Michael fucking Cohen. Bye.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.